I started just like everybody else with pop and jerk, like John Fisher says, tell them, make them, praise them kind of method. It was exactly the same thing that everybody else was doing at the time, and it was all I knew. And when we talk about relationship has been always so valuable to me with my dogs. For the 30 years that I've owned dogs, I've spent a great deal of time investing a lot of time in my relationship. And what I noticed with this compulsion training that I was doing for a ribbon in the sport I loved was that was the only time I had a bad relationship. It was the only time my dog wanted to leave me. It was the only time my dog was nervous with me or afraid of me. They were such good dogs around the house and as companions, but when I did the sport that I loved, because of the way I was doing it, we weren't having fun together. And it was an adversarial kind of team, and I really couldn't bear that. And there was times that I was feeling burnt out and I just wanted to quit. And I'd go from being nice to the dog one day to pushing him around the next day and scaring him and hurting him just because I could, and that's what I was taught. And the bad thing about compulsion and violence with the animal in this kind of situation is that it escalates. It has to escalate. And all I had was guilt feelings all the time. That's all. It was just guilt. And I thought maybe I wouldn't want to do it anymore that way. So it stopped for me. Compulsion training stopped for me when I got my Border Collie Chase, who was a wonderful, biddable, darling, willing, sweet dog with the most expressive eyes you've ever seen. And when I started training him, and I would give him a pop with a leash or a jerk, or, oh, we pulled their hair, we did awful, awful things to them. His face, he would look at me like, how could you do that? Why didn't you just say, come over here? I would have been more than happy to do that. And I could not bear to hurt that dog. I drew the line. I'd already knew I hated all that stuff, and I didn't want to leave my sport because I loved it. But I took a personal challenge. I was not going to do that to this dog. Not only that, when I got my Border Collie from a farmer, I went and I watched the farmers, and they had light voice control on their dogs from 3 fields away. They could turn the dog, their head, and have them herd the sheep 3 fields away. So I thought, you call yourself a dog trainer in a 40 by 50 foot ring. You can't get your dog to behave without popping him on a collar or pinching him or pulling his hair or forcing him to do something. And I just took a personal challenge. I threw away my pinch collar. I refused to hurt my dog. I refused to correct him and force train him for retrieving. I thought, if I can't do it this way, I won't do it at all. And the interesting thing was, when you eliminate all those options, you open up a whole new world in your mind. There's nothing else. You just can't go to that, so you have to get creative. And I thought, let's see what kind of a trainer you are. Let's see if you just go out there with the dog and yourself and a couple of toys. Let's see what you can do.